Week 12 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I looked at this week. The first guy, Luis Matos of the San Francisco Giants. And Matos, he's worked his way through up the system over the last few seasons, and so far he's paying good dividends for the Giants and fantasy owners. Right now, available in 65% of fantasy leagues on the season for Matos already in a small sample size. In only 10 at-bats, 7 runs scored, no home runs, 2 RBIs, a stolen base, a 375 average, and a 615 on base. So Matos, he was tearing it up in the minor leagues. Before coming up, he had 6 home runs in the last week. And right now, we know this Giant team needs some offense, and Matos has definitely brought that in the first 4 games of his MLB career. June 14th at the Cardinals, 1 for 3 with a run. June 16th at the Dodgers, 0 for 2 a run. June 17th at the Dodgers, 2 for 3, 4 runs, a stolen base. And June 18th at the Dodgers, 1 for 4 with a run and 2 RBIs. So right now, if you're looking at a guy with some pop, stolen base, and a decent batting average, where he was hitting over 330 in the minor leagues as well, and he had 15 stolen bases, I think Matos is a good ad this week. And like I said, he was one of the top prospects in the Giants organization, and he's definitely a solid ad and can help fantasy owners. Right now, the next hit is Yodi Tavares of the Texas Rangers. So Tavares, he's gone out there and he's played great baseball this season, and he's showing good pop, and he's getting a lot of good pitches to hit as well, with a lot of talented hitters like Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, and Adolis Garcia as the headline is in that lineup over there in Texas. On the season here for Tavares, 8 home runs, 32 RBIs, 35 runs scored, 7 stolen bases, a 294 average, and a 352 on base. He's got some pop in the bat with 8 home runs. Batting average solid on the season. He's going to steal probably when it's all said and done this year 20, 25 stolen bases. And he's getting an everyday job right now for this Texas Ranger team. So very surprising he's still out there. Like I said, Tavares in 65% of leagues. June 14th versus the Angels, 2 for 4, a homer, 2 RBIs. June 15th versus the Angels, 0 for 4. June 16th versus Toronto, 1 for 3, a homer. June 17th versus the Jays, 0 for 3. And June 18th, a big ball game versus Toronto, 3 for 5, a homer, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. So Leody Tavares, he's going out there, making the most out of his opportunity this season. And there's no pressure on him as well, batting 9th in the lineup. So right now, while he's hot and hitting the baseball good, he's definitely a hitter I looked at this week. The next hitter I looked at is Ryan O'Hearn of the Baltimore Orioles. So O'Hearn filling in right now for Mountcastle, who's out with injury. And O'Hearn, we know throughout his career he's had potential and showed some pop, especially in the minor leagues. On the season here for O'Hearn, 14 runs scored, 5 home runs, 19 RBIs, 342 average, and a 384 on base. I know it's only 83 at-bats so far in the season, but he's filled in well. He's got good versatility of first and outfielder in fantasy baseball. And right now, surprising, he's still out there in 87% of fantasy leagues, but he's more known for the power is Ryan O'Hearn. So right now, if you're looking for power and decent batting average, he could bring that to owners. June 13th versus the Blue Jays, 1 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs. June 14th versus the Jays, 1 for 4 run. June 16th at the Cubs, 3 for 4 run. June 17th at the Cubs, 1 for 2. And June 18th at the Cubs, 2 for 4 with 2 runs. So right now, Hearn playing good baseball. Available, like I said, in tons of fantasy leagues. And if you're looking for some power and a guy with a little bit upside over there playing in Camden Yards, I think he could bring that to fantasy owners. And I would give him an ad this week. The next hit is Bo Taylor of the Cleveland Guardians. So yes, his brother is Josh Taylor, the first baseman for the Guardians. So Taylor finally called up after Mike Zunino got designated for assignment. So far in the early going for Bo Taylor, 0 for 12 on the season with a run. But in the minor leagues, he was a 2020 guy last season, which is definitely solid for a catcher, steal, and stolen bases. I know this season in the minor leagues, he didn't do much, 2 stolen bases, and the batting average wasn't great. But right now, knowing he's going to have an everyday opportunity pretty much for this Guardian team, he has Taylor. I think he could get things going. In the minor leagues, he pretty much did everything he can. And right now, it's time for fantasy owners to go out there if they need a catcher. We know catcher's a weak position. This kid's done it all in AA and AAA. And right now, he's ready for the big league. So if you want to take a flyer on him in deeper leagues available right now in 85% of leagues, I would do that, because a catcher with potential to steal bases is definitely a big plus in my opinion. And Taylor could bring that, and he could show some pop as well. The batting average, I know, wasn't all that great in the minor leagues, but sometimes batting average is a little overrated anyway. So right now, I think Taylor can help owners. And like I said, out there in 85% of leagues, the next hit is Jake Burger of the Chicago White Sox. A Burger, if you're looking for pure power, he's going to bring that. Pretty much everything else, batting average, he's not going to do much of. Strikeouts, he's going to lead you up there amongst the league leaders in strikeouts is Jake Burger. But right now, he's gone out there and he's showing some pop in the middle of that White Sox lineup that obviously could use it on the year. 16 home runs, 36 RBIs, 27 runs scored, a stolen base, a 237 average, and a 287 on base. So right now, if you're just looking for power and you don't care about batting average, Burger's a nice player. Phone is to go out there and get him. Right now, he's available in 66% of leagues here is Jake Burger. So the last few games here for him, he's gone out there not doing much. But like I said, he'll occasionally hit those 2 home runs in a ball game. June 13th at the Dodgers, 0 for 3. June 14th at the Dodgers, 2 for 5, 2 homers, 3 RBIs. June 15th at the Dodgers, 1 for 4, 5 a homer in that one. June 16th at the Mariners, 0 for 4. June 17th at the Mariners, 0 for 4. And June 18th at the Mariners, 1 for 3. So right now, not doing much, but he still could pop a home run or 2 a week. Here's Burger. And if you're strictly looking for that, he's definitely a good ad this week. The next hit is Eddie Rosario, the Atlanta Braves. So Rosario now picking things up where he left off a few seasons ago in the postseason for the Braves, helping them win a World Series. And right now, Rosario, I know he had an eye procedure early in the offseason after last season having a horrible year, but now he's kicked it into gear and he's the pickup of the week, I believe, at the hitting position. On the season here for Rosario, 13 home runs, 37 RBIs, 33 runs scored, a stolen base, a 280 batting average, and a 300 on base. So Rosario, another guy that's going to show pop, but the batting average has been pretty solid. So right now, whatever procedure he got done to his eyes, it's definitely been working for Rosario. And over the last month, he's hit 10 home runs in that time with 24 RBIs, 20 runs scored, a 270 average, and a 303 on base. So right now, he's doing good things as Rosario. And he's out there in 83% of fantasy leagues. But after the weekend he had was Rosario, he's not going to be out there in many leagues. So if you got an available roster spot, he's a must-add right now, in my opinion, especially if you need pop. I know versus lefties, he's not going to start, but there's not that many lefties in the league. So right now, he's been white-hot, Rosario, hitting 5 home runs in the last week here. And he's a must-add. June 14th at the Tigers, 2 for 6, a homer in that one, 4 runs scored. June 16th versus the Rockies, 1 for 3, a homer, 2 RBIs. June 17th versus the Rockies, 2 for 3, a homer, 2 RBIs. And June 18th versus the Rockies, 3 for 4, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. So what a series it was for Rosario, 4 home runs and 10 RBIs versus the Rockies. And right now he goes to another bandbox in Philadelphia for the next series. So right now playing great baseball, Rosario out there in 83% of fantasy leagues, but that's quickly going to change. And he's definitely the pickup of the week for me here at the hitting position. The next hit is Jake McCarthy of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And McCarthy got called up a few weeks ago, and he's been playing pretty solid, I believe, is McCarthy. Obviously, he's not going to show a lot of power, but stolen bases and batting average for the most part he can help on. So on the season, I know overall the numbers aren't great, but since he got recalled 2 weeks ago, he's looked pretty good on the season. 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, 18 runs scored, 14 stolen bases, a 233 average, and a 296 on base. But like I said, the last 2 weeks, a homer, 3 RBIs, 6 stolen bases, 8 runs scored. So right now, if you need a stolen base guy, Jake McCarthy is the man for fantasy owners, and he's getting on base. And last season, he did hit 8 home runs and have 23 bags with a 283. So I think similar stats could happen for McCarthy. Right now, out there, still in a decent amount of leagues in 46%. And like I said, specialty for him is stealing bases and run scored. June 14th versus Philly, 1 for 4 run. June 15th versus Philly, 2 for 4 run, a stolen base. June 16th versus Cleveland, 2 for 5, a run, a stolen base. June 17th versus Cleveland, 1 for 3 with a homer. And June 18th versus Cleveland, 0 for 4. So right now, it's not going to bring much pop. Not going to drive in a lot of runs, but stolen bases, runs, and batting average McCarthy could bring to owners. And I give him an ad this week. The next hitter is Spencer Torkelson of the Detroit Tigers. So Torkelson, a former top prospect in all of Major League Baseball, but the last couple seasons he struggled, but he's starting to get things going now as Torkelson. Over the last few weeks on the season, 8 home runs, 34 RBIs, 31 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 235 average, and a 320 on base. But over the last 2 weeks here, he's starting to pick it up a little bit, as Torkelson. 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, 9 runs scored, a 250 average, and a 333 on base. So right now out there, still in tons of fantasy leagues at 82%. Top 5 prospect at one time in all Major League Baseball for a reason. And now he's starting to find his footing, especially over the last couple weeks. June 14th versus the Braves, 2 for 6 with a homer in a doubleheader and 2 runs scored. June 15th at the Twins, 2 for 5, 2 runs, 2 ribs. June 16th at the Twins, 1 for 4. June 17th at the Twins, 0 for 3. June 18th at the Twins, 1 for 5, a homer, 2 RBI. So right now he's going out there. He's showing some pop, his Torkelson. And he definitely could finish the season if he gets hot a little bit more with 20 to 25 home runs. And we know the Tigers are going to throw him out there every day. He's got a prominent role, hitting second in the lineup. So right now, I like him as an ad this week, and he's starting to get going and hitting the baseball well. The next hit is Jack Suwinski of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So another power guy like a Jake Burger is a Suwinski, but with more upside, I believe, especially that he's a lefty and he's got a sweet swing and that short porch and right over there in PNC Park. So on the season here for Suwinski, 15 home runs, 35 RBIs, 30 runs scored, 6 stolen bases, a 239 average, and a 359 on base. So he's your typical power hitter. Going to strike out a lot. He's going to have a low batting average, 230s, 240s. Going to walk a decent amount, good on base percentage at 360. And he's going to hit them in streaks and in bunches, is Suwinski. So he started off the week hot and then fizzled out the last few days. June 13th at the Cubs, 2 for 2 with 2 homers, 2 RBIs. June 14th at the Cubs, 0 for 3. June 15th at the Cubs, 0 for 4. June 16th at the Brewers, 0 for 2, a run. June 17th at the Brewers, 0 for 1. And June 18th at the Brewers, 0 for 4. But the Pirates, they go back home this week here, starting off with the Chicago Cubs, where their pitching staff isn't all that great. So right now, Suwinski, he's on pace for 30 home runs. We saw the power last season with 19 home runs and 326 at-bats. And he's already got 15 home runs this year and 180 at-bats. So right now, I think the Suwinski 12-team leagues are deep is definitely an ad. And like I said, power hitters, they're going to go in peaks and valleys. They're going to hit them in bunches. And then some weeks they're not going to do much. So right now, while he's out there in 52% of leagues, I would give him an ad this week. And the final hit I look to add is Ronnie Mauricio of the New York Mets. I know he's not in the major leagues, but this Met team right now, they're struggling mightily, and I think it might be time for Mauricio to come up. They're not winning ball games with most of the veterans in the lineup anyway, after losing 2 out of 3 now to the Cardinals, who are the worst team in the National League. So Mauricio on the minors now. He's been starting to play some left field. He's been hitting the ball hard season, is Mauricio. The only downside with him, obviously, he's going to strike out a lot, but he's got good versatility. His exit velos are a great number, and he's driving the ball all over the yard. So right now, I believe the New York Mets could call him up any day now, is Ronnie Mauricio, because he's tearing things up over there in AAA with 10 home runs on the year in 62 games. And he's just hitting the ball very hard and driving in runs. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if he's in the New York Met lineup sooner than later. And it obviously could happen towards next weekend. And right now, Mauricio available in 89% of leagues. That's a few hitters I look to add in Week 12 of the fantasy baseball season.